Hi there, and welcome to STEM Girl to the Rescue. I'm STEM Girl, and I'm here to run you through your next STEMkits activity. This term's activities for Year 4 are focused on the concepts of erosion and weathering. Now, erosion can be sort of a dry topic. Science joke. But it's also very important. So erosion is the loss of soil or sand from one place to another. Okay? Pretty simple. So in this activity, we're focusing on erosion caused by water. And water can cause erosion and weathering in lots of different ways. So let's get started with this activity. So the first exercise that we have is an activity to get students used to measuring things with measuring cylinders. So we have a dropping bottle, which is right here, and that's filled with water, and we measure liquids with measuring cylinders in science. Okay, so what we're going to do is tell the students that we want them to measure 10 milliliters. Okay, so that's the line next to the number 10 on the measuring cylinder. So it's better if you look up nice and close. And 10 milliliters is measured out. And now we're going to put this into a test tube. Okay, so that's what this is. They're plastic, so they're nice and safe. And we pour that in. Okay. And then we need one of the group members to make a line with the crayon that we've given them where the water falls to. Okay, so that's the 10 milliliter mark. All right, and then we're going to put the group number on it. So if they are group number 2, they would write a 2. So I'm writing a 2 on this. Okay, and then each group needs to bring this to the teacher. Okay, the teacher will put all of the tubes into the big cup that we've provided, and this needs to go into a freezer for about an hour. Okay, now a good way to check to make sure the students are all on track is all of the tubes should be around the 10 milliliter mark. Okay, if they filled the water right up to the top, then you know that they don't understand how to measure out the 10 milliliters. Okay, so we're going to pop that in the freezer. Most freezers, it will take about an hour to work, so you can leave this overnight and have a look at it the next day, or wait that hour. And here's one that I prepared earlier, and the students will be able to see, when they wipe the bit of condensation off the outside, that the ice that's frozen in the test tube is actually up over the line that we'd drawn before. And what this shows is that when water gets frozen, okay, it expands. So if you think about a place that has water inside rocks and falls into wintertime, the water freezes and it will actually break little bits of rock away. And that's one way that they weather rocks. So that's our first experiment to talk about what water can do to cause weathering and erosion. Now, we live in Queensland and it's very beautiful here with lovely beaches, but we do have a problem with erosion on beaches. So the next activity is going to talk about sand erosion and the fact that we can tell how much erosion is going to happen when we do some research and some experiments. So each student gets a plastic container like this, okay, and 1, 2, 3 per group, and they have a bag of wet sand. Okay, so they're going to make sand castles. They're provided with a cup and a spoon. Okay, and they just need to take turns filling up that cup. And doing it over the box means that they won't get it all over your floor. And then I find the best way to do it is to tip it like that, and then upside down, so you get a little sand castle. Okay, now the kids are going to make 3 of them, so there's enough sand here for 3 sand castles in the group. Okay, so we have 3 sand castles, 1, 2, 3, and the students are going to use the ruler that's been provided, okay, so that they can measure the height of their sandcastle. So I'll put that there, and I will say that that is about 5 centimeters high. And the students need to record how tall their sandcastles are in their worksheet. Each student gets to choose a destruction level. So the first destruction level is 10 milliliters. Okay, that means that student needs to measure 10 milliliters, just like they did for the test tube before. Okay, so we already know they understand where the 10 is. Okay, and that student pours his 10 milliliters over his sandcastle. Okay, the next student is a 15 milliliter destruction value. And finally, the biggest destruction kit of all gets to be 20 milliliters. Now, you get to measure how much damage got caused. It was 5 centimeters before. My first one, I'm going to say he's only 4 centimeters tall now. My second one, it's about 3 centimeters. And my last one, about 2. Now, this is a great extension exercise if you're up for it. They can plot in a graph how many milliliters they poured onto their sandcastles and how much the destruction value is. And there's a table in their worksheet so they can work all of that information out with you as a class or individually, depending on the skill level of the students. Once they've measured that, just get them to tip the sand all back into one container. Doesn't matter if it all goes in or not. Stack your sandy boxes up, pop your lid on, and it's ready to go back in the box. Now for our final experiment, we talk about the fact that water not only can break apart rocks like we saw with the expanding water, but we also could see that it smooths rocks out. So each group gets a rough rock and a smooth rock, okay? And they talk about the fact that this one has sharp edges, this one's very smooth. This is sort of like when you go to the beach and you find rocks that are on the beach and they have that smooth feeling. And the reason is because the water is pounding over the top of them for so long. Well, we don't have all that time to pound the rocks to make them soft, but what we do have is a sugar cube. So get the group to feel the corners, the sharp little edges, just like on the sharp rock. Then they're going to put this into the jar. And this is the part that all the teachers love. They have to shake. Shake, 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 shake for a whole minute. I'm not going to shake for a whole minute because I'm sure you don't want to watch a minute of me shaking this. But when they are finished with the minute, they take the sugar cube out and they'll feel that the edges have gotten smooth. And that simulates the fact that the water would be rushing over those rocks for hundreds of years, making them nice and soft. And we managed to do that in just a couple minutes. All right, so that's 3 examples of erosion and weathering. And we hope you've enjoyed this. Have a STEMtastic day.